Far north in Norway, there is currently a large clean ammonia plant called Barents Blue in the planning phase. Morten Sola is head of subsurface at Horisont Energi and is responsible for developing the Polaris CO2 storage, which will handle the CO2 disposals from the ammonia plant. Morten will give you an introduction to Horisont Energi and their ongoing projects. Please give him a warm welcome.
Thank you, Eivind, and thank you to Bellona for inviting us. Here we are. It's cloudy, outside it's rainy, but today is actually a great day for Horisont Energi. Maybe some of you have already seen the press release that came out yesterday evening with the announcement that we have entered a strategic cooperation agreement together with E.ON. There's a couple of quotes here that you can read. You can ask the question, what does this mean? And I can say a few words about that. It means that we have a long-term strategic cooperation agreement in place with E.ON, and they're actually also taking 25% ownership stake in Horisont Energi. That will bring a lot of cash to Horisont, and we need that muscle. And the partnership will focus on development and commercialization of CO2 removal, development of full-scale end-to-end carbon capture, transport and sequestration as a service for European industry, development of clean ammonia value chains. And the main responsibility split here is that E.ON, they will take care of carbon capture and liquefaction, and we, Horisont Energi, will take transport and sequestration. Keep that in mind when I go through the rest of the presentation. This is important for both companies. Here is our mission statement and our vision. We are striving to become the preferred partner when it comes to CCS on the Norwegian continental shelf. Rune used the term running and long distance, short distance. We are certainly running, and we want to keep the pace up and achieve results. That's our mantra. We want to be pluralistic. We're not a one single project company. As you will see, we have a lot in the pipeline. Profitable. We do this because we believe we can make money out of it. And who are we? Here's a group of young people, a good mix of young people and young-minded people. We were actually founded 2.5 years ago now, or less than 2.5 years ago. This picture was taken in October, November 2020. And we were then 11 people. We were 11 people today, 1 year ago. And now we are 25 plus consultants and so on. I think we might be 35 Horisont emails today. We have our office in the FOMO building at Forus. And we also have a person in Edinburgh. There's a line saying strong investor lineup. I don't need to comment on that, I believe. Again, we're a team with gray-haired people like myself who have 30 years plus of experience in the oil and gas industry, subsurface, but also on the top side, the facilities and project development. On top of that, we now also have a few people with processing experience, people who actually have built ammonia plant before. So we have a lot of competence on board. We will grow in this year. That goes without saying, I guess. We have high ambitions. We want to become one of the top-tier European clean energy companies. We want to be the first to the market with world-scale blue ammonia. That is, we want to deliver cost-competitive clean ammonia to the global market and become the preferred supplier of clean ammonia in Northern Europe. And that, the step that happened last night is one good step in that direction. We want to be the carbon storage cost leader, also supported by what we did yesterday, Europe's preferred carbon storage provider and leading carbon storage asset developer. As you see, I have outlined 2 areas where we are working, up in the Barents Blue, far north, and we have something in the south. I won't go into details on that, but I'll come back to a little bit more on it as we go. Barents Blue, what is that? Barents Blue is a combination of ammonia plant and CO2 waste hole out there in the Barents Sea, the Polaris CO2 storage. Let's start with the ammonia factory. It will receive gas from Melkøya. It will convert it to ammonia and produce 1 million tons of ammonia per year, per train. We are planning to start with 1 train, but we are preparing the grounds for 3 trains. So, meaning that we can have capacity for up to 3 million tons of ammonia from that factory. And the CO2 will go to Polaris, and the CO2 is 2 million tons per year per train, meaning that we will inject between 2 and 6 million tons per year. That's a substantial amount. And only the 2 million tons, what does that compare to? That is actually the full Norwegian aviation industry pre-corona, plus 500,000 cars on top of that. That's what 2 million tons is equivalent to. Here's the list. Yeah, so you see there is this is the way to the market. And the market we see is chemical industry and fertilizer. On top of that, it's maritime fuel and power plant fuel. And we believe that the 2 latter ones is the ones that will grow in the future. And that brings me to the question, why ammonia? Why not just produce the hydrogen? Why convert it to ammonia? It packs much better, the hydrogen in ammonia. It packs actually as a factor of 1.7 in volume equivalence. So you will have 1.7 as much hydrogen in ammonia as you can get in ammonia in hydrogen itself. Ammonia is a well-known industry gas. It's been around for 100 years as industry gas, and it's therefore well known in the transport sector. It's then inexpensive to ship compared to hydrogen, for example. Compared to hydrogen, it's a 3 times as effective fuel. The energy density is 3 times higher. And that's the highest of these clean fuels on the bottom here. But when you compare to diesel, it's not quite there. Diesel is good, a good fuel, and so you can actually, in theory, fill ammonia on your diesel engine and run it. So if you fuel up your diesel car with ammonia, but you will come 1/3 of the distance. You need a little twist on the engine. Now, how will ammonia be used in the future? We believe it's the future coming fuel because of what I've said. And the growth will most likely come in the marine fuel industry. We believe a growth of 400 million tons per year. And also on the power sector, power plant sector. We see that Longyearbyen is planning to convert the coal-based power plant to ammonia, green ammonia though. And can say that the current demand is 180 million tons per year of ammonia globally. Again, back to the Barents Blue. You saw this picture in the former presentation. Actually, this is how it could look. This is one of the models we have of Train 1. It will be a very clean plant. It will be mostly self-sufficient on power. We produce energy, so we can use the energy we produce to run the factory. So it will only be limited electricity that we pull from the grid. It will be 0 emissions and environmentally friendly. with focus on sustainable solution and circular practices in the design. And also be a good neighbor to avoid sound and light pollution. The fact that we bring clean gas into the factory, a clean process gives a clean product that is in compliance with the EU taxonomy, so we can sell the ammonia as a clean product to Europe. It will start up late 25, and I've mentioned all the figures here. What I didn't mention is that more than 99% of the CO2 will be captured and given back to Mother Earth in the Polaris. So in red, 2.6 million tons, 2 to 6 million tons per year. That's my task, being the subsurface leader. And here is Polaris. The Polaris CO2 storage is currently in a license application status. The application is handed in. Some of you might have read that in the news. We have applied together with Equinor and Vår Energi. The deadline was in the 9th of December. And we expect, if we have done the job right and the application is acceptable for an award, we hope that award will come in the first half of this year, sooner rather than later. And why did we choose this area? Well, it's relatively close to Markopneset, where the plant is. On top of that, there's an existing well here. An existing exploration well that was dry. Not dry, sorry. It was a small, tiny oil discovery. On top of that, there was 3D seismic, relatively new and modern, that we could use. And a very nice, low gradient, large structure that can benefit from all the trapping mechanisms for when it comes to CO2, trapping mechanisms in the ground. As you see, I've indicated an area down here that will be the injection well area. We will inject down flanks to again give the CO2 time to be trapped in the best possible way. Also, I want to mention that you see it says about 1,400 meters below subsea, meaning that there is no significant porosity above that. So tight rocks, there's a kilometer of tight rocks above the reservoir. So that's pretty safe. In addition to the wells and seismic, NPD had also developed a simulation model of the area that they had introduced in the CO2 Atlas. And we were able to download that and use that in the early phase of the project. And here's just an example. This is how it looks. If we inject, after 25 years of injection, that's one train, 25 years of production of ammonia, and injection looks like that. It's circular, and that's because the structure is so flat. After 130 years, it has migrated up here. And after 1,000 years, only 10 to 30% of the CO2 is actually trapped structurally, like oil and gas trap structurally. The rest is given back to the Mother Nature in solution with the water, dissolved in the water, and also capillary trapped. That is the small pore throats between the grains in the rock. And according to the IPCC trapping model, you see that the residual trapping and solubility trapping is more safe than structural trap. So this is why I like to use the word giving back to nature rather than storing, because only this part you can get back from storage. This is gone forever. We need to keep track of what is in there and how it develops. So the typical way of doing that is to monitor the surface, that you don't have any leaks. And also you need to do seismic. Seismic has been driven by the oil and gas industry for many, many years, and seismic is expensive. And in the CO2 business, which is believed we have to treat it as marginal. We have to keep the cost down. So we're looking at new methods that can reduce the cost. And here is an example: if we use fiber rather than the traditional way, we can cut the cost by a factor of 10. That will be good. And also, to keep the cost down, we need to adjust the way we're thinking, the way the requirements we need. Do we really need the best possible crisp picture that we do use in oil and gas industry? I don't know that. Here is another project that we're doing. This is the southern part where we're going to go to the Europe and offer CO2 storage to Europe. We will take care of transporting and storage. And then the capture part and liquefaction in Europe, well, I talked about that already. That will be, E.ON can provide us with that. Then we will then ship the CO2 cold packed from Europe to a site in Norway, where we can repack it to high pressure conditions and ready for storage out offshore. The storage will need to be of a large size, and we have identified it, and it's ready for application soon. We need to have it a large size so it can be flexible and adjusted to the market, so we can have several injection points and be able to. We need both volume capacity but also injection capacity, so that we can adjust to the seasonal variations in the CO2 disposal demands from the customers. Oil and gas experience is basis for the CCS. Again, I mentioned we got a commercially dry exploration wells that we can use. We have seismic from the oil and gas industry, so that's good, and we have experience. However, there's also a cost culture with the oil and gas industry that we have to move away from. That cost culture is, of course, related to that the oil and gas business, the most profitable business in man history. CCS business will probably not be that, so we have to do a cost adjustment. And not only a cost to get the cost down, but also a information requirement adjustment. So cost efficiency, cost awareness is key in this business, and we can say it again and again and again. And we do that. We challenge ourselves every day. We challenge our vendors. We challenge our consultants, everybody we talk to, our partners partners in crime, was said, partners we work with in Polaris. We have to keep the cost down and move away from the oil and gas mindset that keep it low. And then, of course, strategic partnerships are always critical and enabling our business, as again refer to slide 1. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Morten. It's always interesting to have an update from you guys. Things are happening very, very fast. And congratulations on yesterday's news. Thank you.
Thank you.